Hello, my name is David Staffen, and today I'll be showing you how to hook up a very simple game system. You can use this for many other things though, for your entertainment system, like a DVD player, a Xbox, other great stuff, but I will be using a Nintendo GameCube for today. Because of the way that technology works nowadays, a lot of it works a lot of the same way. So let's begin. First things first, I want to discuss inputs and outputs. Inputs means it's going into the device, output means it's going out. I just wanted to make sure that that was very clear and that everyone understood that before we began. So, I also want to make sure that you understand that there are a lot of different types of inputs. The two most common nowadays are what's called composite, which are these little nubs in the back, and another one called HD. Now that is using HDMI cables, which look a lot like this and have this general shape. We're not going to be using these today because, well, it's currently hooked up to a bigger TV that's going to be messy to take care of. So, let's begin. If you do have a device that does use HDMI though, you can buy a switch box for HDMI and use the same thing. For the most part, you just remember, if it's the same color, same shape, same size, it can go in there for the most part and be used. So, let's begin. We're going to start by taking our power strip here, which will allow you to hold a lot of different devices on it without having to unplug them and plug in a new device every time you want to use something different. We're going to start by plugging this into the wall and setting it right there to use. Next, we're going to take our TV and give it some power so that way we can see stuff. Easy. For the most part, every device you're going to do, you're going to put on here. I would recommend labeling these or perhaps putting a little mark on it so that way you know which one is which if you ever want to switch out your console or your DVD player to upgrade it or other devices or other reasons you might want to do that. Next, we're going to want to hook up our switch box so that way we can use our switch box and never have to turn our TV around again. We're going to do this by taking an AV cable that probably came with the device. And you're going to take it and find one end that you think is good looking. I like this end. It looks pretty good. We're going to plug it into this side. Now this is your TV's input. For the most part, a TV does not have output except for sound, but that is for a professional grade surround sound system or speaker system, which we are not going to be dealing with today. Just simple entertainment system. So you're going to also find the output on this and plug it into here. Remember, your cords always need to go from an output to an input. If it's going from an input to an input, it's not going to work. And if it's going from an output to an output, it's not going to work. So, and if it's going from the wrong output to the wrong input, it's not going to work. So now, let's take our device that we're going to hook up. If you're using a DVD player, your steps might look a little bit, your output might look a little bit like this one right here. So you're going to want to find another AV cable that will hook up to it like so. And you're just going to hook this up, the output up, just like your switch box. And then you're going to find the input you want and hook it up there. We're going to be doing the same process, but with our Nintendo GameCube. So, the GameCube has a kind of weird shaped one. It doesn't have those three prongs. It has this nice hole with this nice little thing, so that way you can't accidentally mess it up and use a different one. Don't know why you'd want to do that, though. So then you're going to take your GameCube and set it down. Then you're going to find the input you want to attach it to. We're going to attach this one to number 2, just because I usually have my game consoles on 2 through 4. And then we're going to attach it to the input. Now this one says input 2. The box above it is clearly the one we want to use for input 2. Notice how there is also a green, red, and blue one right here beside the 3 other colors. Those are the RGB input. That's different from AV, as some TVs cannot handle the AV input, so that you need normal red, blue, and green. It sounds very complicated, but it's just simple. It's just 2 different types of cords you need. Most systems will use these, so you don't have to worry about the red, blue, and green at all. Now that that's all done, let's turn our TV around and our switch box around. Now if you have other devices you want to hook it up to the different inputs, however you want. I would recommend labeling them so you know exactly which one's which. And then let's turn our TV around so that way it's not, well, so it can be used, really. And here we go. Now that we have the inputs hooked up and ready, let's hook up the power. Now, for each device, I'd recommend hooking up the power and its input at the same time. You could hook up all the inputs and then hook up all the power, but I wouldn't recommend that. So now for your power, most devices will either have it attached to it already, or will have a unique shape for each power. If it doesn't have a unique shape, or a unique size, or color, then it probably means it can be used with whatever other device you want to use. Although make sure you look on the device and its cord. This one here specifically says it's a GameCube power cord, and this is a GameCube. So you just want to take that and pow. Simple as that. After you're done, if you're using a game device, you're going to want to plug in your controller. And some game systems have a memory card like this one. You just want to stick that into the slot. Now, remember, it's the same shape, probably goes in there. Very easy to figure out. Same with the controller. Circle, circle. Plug that in. And now your TV might not be set to the correct thing. So let's turn it on and make sure it's set to our input here. This one is set to it, but if you needed to ever change it, a lot of TVs have a button that say input or menu. You just want to hit your input button and then figure out, you might have to play with your TV a little bit, but figure out which buttons move this up and down. And I have an enter button on the top, but some will have you press volume up. And you're just going to select AV, because that's the ones we're working with right now. You know, if you're working with HDMI only, you're going to want to switch to HDMI. If you're working with both, you'll have to switch whenever you want to use it. But that's better than having to constantly switch out cables and stuff to use all your systems. Now that we have our TV set up, you can just turn on. And remember to have your button select. And now we can play. Took up something like a charger on the side. You can just take your charger cord like so, plug it into wherever you see will fit it, and then just plug in your device. Thank you for taking your time to watch this tutorial. I hope it did help. If there's any questions or comments that you have, please put them in the comments below. Without further ado, I'm David Staffen, signing off.